Welcome back. This is lecture 2.3, and today we're going to talk about temperature. So just like pressure, which we talked about last time, everybody has a pretty good comfortability with temperature. You know what it means when I say it's a temperature outside or a temperature inside, or turn your oven to this temperature, or the pool is at this temperature. Like everybody kind of knows what hot and cold means in some ways, but we're physicists, right? So let's be quantitative about these things. Let's really define what we mean by temperature, okay? Now at this point, usually somebody in class says, oh, it has to do with the kinetic energy of the particles. And, that is a valid way of thinking, right? But remember, this is thermal physics. We're not really thinking about the microscopic particles, right? I don't want to have to think about, if the molecules in the gas or in the solid are moving, right? I don't really need to think about microscopically what a thing is made of and how it exists and how fast it's moving to define temperature. And we certainly don't do that in our everyday lives, okay? So temperature really should be something more macroscopic, right? Something more general, okay? So one way to define temperature is through equilibrium. Coming back to this important concept of equilibrium, right? So imagine I take two objects, let's call it object A and object B, and I link them up and I put them in thermal contact. Okay. Now, this one has one temperature, right? Temperature A, and this one has temperature B. Okay. So let's say to begin with that they're different and we put them in thermal contact. What happens? Well, heat's going to flow from one to the other, right? What is heat? We're going to talk about that thing. But in essence, heat is that thing which flows from a hot object to a cold object, right? So we're going to have, imagine establishing thermal contact, and if we wait for equilibrium, well, we said for equilibrium we can't have something changing with time, so we have to come to a static situation, but we also have to come to a homogeneous situation. That means we're in equilibrium when TA equals TB, right? So when the temperature of object A equals the temperature of object B, that's when we're in thermal equilibrium. Or another way to flip it around is temperature is that thing which is the same between two objects in equilibrium. Right? You put two objects in equilibrium and they will get to the same temperature, right? So temperature is that shared property when they are in thermal equilibrium. Let's be clear. Thermal equilibrium. So this is actually how we start to make a thermometer, right? A thermometer is an object which has some variable that depends on temperature. Let's not say variable, let's say property. Some property that depends on temperature. Temperature and can be made in thermal equilibrium with another object. All right, so when I'm measuring the temperature of a thermometer, it's only measuring its own temperature. And it's only telling me, for example, I stick a thermometer, a mercury thermometer, an alcohol thermometer, under my tongue, and I have to wait for it to come into equilibrium. So you guys probably have digital thermometers these days, but when I was a kid, Mom would have to see if you were sick by sticking a thermometer under your tongue, and you'd have to lay calmly with this thermometer on your tongue, waiting for that thermometer to come into equilibrium with your tongue, right? And it's only if you can establish a sufficient thermal contact that you can get into thermal equilibrium that your temperature is a valid measurement. Your thermometer is a valid measurement of the temperature of a system, right? So this really leads us to what some call the 0th law of thermodynamics, which is that two objects, each in equilibrium with a third, are in equilibrium with each other. All right, so it's sort of like the transitive property of thermometry, right? So if, like in you had the transitive property of in mathematics when you had A equals B and B equals C, therefore A equals C, right? That is, if I say, the temperature of my body, let's do the temperature of let's say the temperature of the whiteboard is I can measure it with the thermometer is in equilibrium with my thermometer, and also my pen is in equilibrium with my thermometer, right? So I take my thermometer and I measure the temperature of each of them independently, right? I say I measure the temperature of my thermometer, of my whiteboard, I measure my temperature of my pen. They both read the same temperature. That means that the temperature of the whiteboard is the temperature of the pen. That is, the pen and the whiteboard are in equal thermal equilibrium, right? Sort of the transitive property of thermal equilibrium. All right, and so, the measurement of temperature is an extraordinarily interesting one. We've already mentioned sort of the thermometer that you stick under your tongue, which is actually based on, these days, alcohol, so the temperature dependence of the density of alcohol. But when I was a kid, they were mercury, so it was the temperature dependence of the mercury. So you could see in our barometer that, yes, we definitely had to take into account the temperature dependence of the mercury, right? Because it's used as a thermometer it's also used as a barometer. I have a whole slew of thermometers in my lab, and so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this and go take a look at some of those thermometers in my lab. So it's loud in here. This is my one of my two labs, and this is one of our two dilution refrigerators. And I'll tell you more later about how these refrigerators work, but I thought I'd just take a moment to show you a few of the thermometers. So for example, this plate here actually gets down to about 10 millikelvin. And at that temperature, this is one of those one thermometer. So this is called a ruthenium oxide thermometer, and it's basically a material that has a temperature-dependent resistance, right? So that's just we call a resistive thermometer, and there'll be 4 little electrical leads that go into there. Here's another thermometer. This is actually called a melting curve thermometer. So this works by the coexistence curve of liquid helium-3. That is the solid-liquid coexistence curve. And if I come around here, I can show you another thermometer. This is called a nuclear orientation thermometer. And that's a little sample of cobalt-60. And that actually has a radiation pattern which is temperature dependent.